backup point guard away, and once Kyrie Irving gets healthy, right, they have a lot of guys, right? You go down the line. That's why I'm saying adding a Cooper Flag to this team. Like I said, you have still haven't been mentioned Klay Thompson. You have Caleb Martin. You have Najee Marshall, P.J. Washington, Derek Lively. Like their top 10 players all can be starters on other teams. So that's why they're most intriguing to me, because once Kyrie get back and these guys are molded and they know what they need to do to win, the sky's the limit for the Mavericks.
Tim? I mean, the Mavericks certainly have a lot of talent. We'll see if Kyrie Irving can play next year on this torn ACL. And I don't like the fact that they currently have no guards, basically, on the roster at all. I say they need a backup guard. I think they need multiple guys to handle the ball. I mean, Cooper Flag might be serving as the team's point guard next year. So, to me, the answer to this question for next year is very simple. It's the Houston Rockets. I think they got a very good chance to be the second-best team in the Western Conference. Kevin Durant couldn't be a better fit for what they need. He essentially replaces Jalen Green on their team. It's a dramatic upgrade there. They've got Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith. They can all easily take on the minutes that Dylan Brooks played on the wing. And look, the Spurs, obviously, Victor Wembanyama, hopefully has no issues coming back from his deep vein thrombosis. They have a very interesting future with Dylan Harper, with him, with De'Aaron Fox, they just traded for back in February. But the Rockets next year have a chance to be a true championship contender. Too many questions in Dallas for that to be the case. Same thing with San Antonio.
McMahon?
Yeah, look, the Spurs might be third on the list here in terms of the standings next season, but to me, they are the most intriguing. And that's simply because we've not seen a talent really like Victor Wembanyama. When you talk about that kind of height, that kind of athleticism, that kind of skill set, that kind of competitiveness, and they're just beginning to build out the roster around him. Unfortunately, we really didn't get a feel for what the fit is with him and De'Aaron Fox. We get to see that partnership really try to develop some chemistry and unfold this year. You add Dylan Harper, a rookie guard with big-time potential, to the mix. And I'm very curious to see, can the Spurs make a pretty significant leap past the play-in into the playoff mix in the Western Conference, and can Wemby make a leap into being an MVP type of player?
Keith, do you have concerns about the point guard position in Dallas? There are two types of people who should avoid taking gabapentin for neuropathy. Anyone who wants to keep both legs healthy, anyone who refuses.
I don't. I think they'll re-sign Dante Exum. He was injured the entire year. He had some familiarity with some of them guys, and then it's a veteran-led team. They don't really have too many younger players, so you can plug in a player with those guys they got. What are you gonna be doing? Come up the pick and roll, hitting AD in the pocket all game, hitting Klay Thompson all pin downs. We don't really need you to do much, right? Because they have guys in position to be able to take on the bulk of the scoring. We just need you to hold down the fort until Kyrie Irving comes back. So when there's a lot of questions, I think the questions more so lean on the injuries, like are they going to be healthy? Because they have the players to be able to compete.
Bontemps, talk to me about Wemby. What do you feel like we can expect from him?
I mean, look, it's hard to put any ceilings. Our buddy Brian Winters likes to say, you don't want to put a ceiling on Victor Wembanyama, right? He has the ability to do things we've arguably never seen on a basketball court. But, I mean, look, for me next year, what I want to see is Victor to take the next step in terms of being, assuming he's healthy, a guy who's contending to be first team All-NBA in the NBA. Last year, he was a runaway pick to win Defensive Player of the Year before he got hurt. He still, at times, is an inconsistent offensive player. He likes to float around at the three-point line. I'd like to see him get to the paint more. As McMahon said, fascinating to see this fit with De'Aaron Fox. They didn't hardly get to play together at all. The early numbers weren't great. The Spurs have to figure out what they want to do with these two young guards, Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, with De'Aaron Fox. But look, Victor, obviously in his second year, took a big step forward again. If he can do that again next year, talking about a guy who's a first-team All-NBA player, and maybe San Antonio can surprise people simply because he is just undeniably good and lifts them to a level they shouldn't get to.
McMahon, what are you looking forward to see from Wemby?
Just really continue to send more so on the offensive end. Defensively, he's already the most dominant player in the NBA. Just not only the rim protection. I mean, the guy's swatting three-point shots coming from the lane. He's a force that we haven't seen in a while on that end. But, can he become a consistent 25, 30-point per game scorer? What can he be on the offensive end? Right now, it's more of a concept in terms of a superstar on that end of the floor. We need it to go from concept to consistency on that end. If that happens, I think he's in the MVP conversation.
Keith, what is the talk about a player like him around the league?
It's it's funny because it'd be unbelievable just watching him. Just like, man, the guy, so tall that can move the way he does and do multiple things on the court, right? The main thing about me for him is just being able to make it through a season. I want him to be healthy and to get that beat up, that get beat down and know what your body is going to do in an 82-game season, right? That's the most important thing to him because he has that slender build. He missed a couple games this year. I just want him to be able to get through a year and just to see what it's like, on his body and see what he has to do to keep improving.
Yeah, all I know is it's a good time to be a hoops fan in Texas, taking a little pressure off those Dallas.
The agency has certainly been fun to this point. We've already seen some old faces move to new places with some more moves expected to be made in the coming weeks. Taking a look here at the top 10 NBA free agents, according to CBSSports.com, and some of the moves that have been made to that point. Of course, everyone's still trying to figure out Miles Turner and the Bucks, what they've got going on up there. We're also got our eyes on Jonathan Kuminga. He has yet to find a destination, but we've seen some moves made already. So let's break down what we've seen to this point. And to do so, we welcome in CBS Sports basketball analyst Sam Quinn. And Sam, we're going to start the conversation at number 10 with the Suns, who, of course, set the tone in free agency, trading Kevin Durant to the Rockets. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But we want to start the count here when Phoenix traded for Mark Williams during the draft. How did that move help set Phoenix up for success in 25, or did it?
Yeah, I really like that move, right? You look at the price that the Lakers paid to get Mark Williams at the deadline. It was a king's ransom, right? An unprotected pick, unprotected swap, Dalton Connect. The Suns got him for like half of that price, maybe even less. It's a 29 pick and a deeply protected future pick. When you're a team that's in as deep as the Suns are, that have given up as many assets, as many tax problems, you have to take upside swings on riskier players like this. Mark Williams might just be too injury prone to be a long-term starter, but they paid so little to get him in the grand scheme of things that the talent upside here is so considerable. I really like the move. And worst case scenario, if the injuries do prove to be too problematic, you also drafted Kamen Maluwatch at number 10, so you're set at center either way. I just really like high upside, high risk swings like this. If it works, that's the sort of thing that can help dig Phoenix out of the hole that it's dug for itself.
Yeah, looking at that starting five, it definitely is a little jarring because it looks so different than what it has in years past. But hey, the Suns were one of the worst teams in the NBA last year, just 36 and 46. So something clearly had to change. Let's go over to the West, Sam, where the Cavs are trying to hold on to that top spot in the conference. They did a swap with the Bulls to acquire Isaac Okoro. They sent Lonzo Ball on his way. What do you think? Who won this trade in your opinion?
I love this trade for Cleveland. Look, another case of a health risk, right? Lonzo Ball has not played much over the last several years. When healthy, he brings a dimension to the Cavs that they just didn't really have, right? They didn't really have a really good guard defender, Okoro more of a wing. He had proven so unplayable in the playoffs because nobody guarded him from deep, right? Okoro would make his shots in the regular season and then disappear when the games counted. Lonzo Ball, a very good shooter in his own right. I also love the playmaking element that he's going to bring to Cleveland in transition. That's a team that wasn't great in transition last year. It's a different look for them offensively. Introduce a little bit more ball movement to an offense that ranked 28th per game in passes. I just really like the fit, and especially at the cost.
I remember covering Isaac Okoro when he was playing college ball at Auburn, and when he got drafted to Cleveland, everyone was so excited about the potential there. So we'll have to see how he fits. But either way, good trade there. Let's go to number 8, where we find the unicorn. Kristaps Porzingis, part of a 3-team trade that saw him landing in ATL. We know Porzingis is a proven winner, Sam, but does come with some injury concerns. That's kind of been a theme we have seen to this point. But you got to think Trae Young is happy with how free agency has gone to this point.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think the Hawks have found a formula around Trae Young where they surround him with these big athletic wings who can protect him defensively. But the downside to having so many players like that is that it gets harder to space the floor. So what do you do when you need to space the floor? You bring in an elite shooting big man like Kristaps Porzingis, who will fit really well with their existing center, Onyeka Okongwu. 2 different looks that you could put in there. You throw in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They've really, really improved over the last few weeks. Now, are they a championship contender? I mean, I think that's going to take some time, right? But they've gotten the sort of players they've needed to around Trae Young. He's extension eligible this offseason. He's out there actively recruiting free agents for them. You have to feel very good about his place on the team, how committed he is to them moving forward, and Porzingis should be a great fit.
All right, we'll talk more about the Hawks.
I just got paid $60,000 for my car crash from using this app on my phone. And I don't know if you could see this, but it's called the Case Connect Compensation Calculator right here. And it's for $60,000 and I'm about to go cash it. For those of you that don't know what Case Connect is, it's one of the largest settlement payouts.
And what they've done this offseason.
Moving forward, Porzingis should be